Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the superiors here on what we love to call the Pure Finesse Sports Podcast Family. It's Jacob and Malcolm Govius with you here. And today it's all about the national championship game down there in the really unsettled right now United States of America.
Yeah, some riots going on down there.
Yeah, not a big deal. But it is the Ohio State Buckeyes going to play the Alabama Crimson Tide down in Miami where they don't care about COVID. So that's why that's there. For the national championship game, Alabama favored by 7.5 points. They are undoubtedly the favorite because they have been nothing short of brilliant for this 2020 season. Nick Saban has rolled up another masterpiece down in Tuscaloosa, and they proved it with the Rose Bowl cherry on top against the Irish, winning 31-14. Did you catch that game?
I did catch that game. And when you have those star players on that team, like a lot of kids want to go to Alabama because they're so successful and because of Nick Saban. When you have those players, I'm not gonna discredit Nick Saban, but it's kind of easy to blow out these teams when you have all the best players in the nation. So when three of you guys were named for the Heisman at three different positions, that's kind of remarkable. So
Exactly that. And we just heard this week that the Heisman Trophy winner is none other than Mr. Devontae Smith, who was the first receiver to win the Heisman since Desmond Howard in 1991.
yeah,
Bad omen, because I don't know, Desmond Howard didn't have the greatest NFL career for a Heisman winner.
yeah.
But Devontae Smith is just built different, man. He's got a whole bunch of records to his name. He is the Alabama's all-time receiving leader. Absolutely 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, couple 200-yard games to his name
Ooh, I
against.
thought he had three.
Well, there you go. Multiple touchdowns, 200 plus yards in the against Georgia. This offense is really not Alabama-esque in some way because they're more known on the other side of the ball being the top end talent. But Mac Jones, not the biggest fan of Mac Jones in the
No, man.
world, but you
Hit
know what?
left.
He's playing some pretty stellar football.
Yeah.
He's nominated for the Heisman, which, I mean, you can't discredit that. But Brampton, Ontario's John Mechie is also in the mix here. He's the number 2 receiver in the fold after, honestly, probably should have been the top receiver taken in the draft this coming April in 2021. Jalen Waddle went out with an injury, tore his ACL. He was out for the season, and they're still lighting up the scoreboard. It's really, really remarkable. But, Malcolm, you're really high on the guy running the ball for Alabama, eh?
Yes, I am. Najee Harris. I really am. Just though, like when he goes up against guys, it's almost impossible to take him down. I was watching with my dad against Notre Dame, and Najee Harris is just bulldozing through guys, and you can't stop him. He gets hit, and he's still going. He's still going. He's not gonna. You can't take him down that easily, and that's why I have. Like I'm a Pittsburgh fan, right? And I think they need draft a running back. I think this is a guy if he drops, because I don't think that he's going to drop that far. But if he does drop, that's a guy Pittsburgh should look out for. A lot of other teams should look out for too, because he's just another talent, like on another level for running
Well,
back.
you saw how high he got up for that vert in the Rose
That was
Bowl, right? And it's not like he's stick and bones. He's 6'2", 230 pounds
he's a big
of
boy.
muscle. Yeah,
I hope so.
there's not. He's definitely probably could be a generational talent at running back, but they do have a history of passing up Alabama running backs in previous drafts. One of those guys being the 2,000-yard rushing man this year, Derrick Henry, who was a second round. If you can picture that, Derrick Henry being a second round pick.
And he does wear those medium sized shirts too. So
Not. We're gonna just pretend he didn't just say medium for the speds listening to this. But there's Alabama had a bit more games to work with than Ohio State did in the season, and
yeah,
SEC is just it's another level of talent in the SEC rather than the other Power Five conferences. And being Ohio State fan, I can chalk that up to that. But they have a plentiful amount of signature wins, isn't that right, Malcolm?
through the Alabama Crimson Tide, yes, they do. Listed here, we have against Texas A&M this season. The number 5 ranked Texas A&M won 52-34. That's just ridiculous. Against Georgia, 41-24. Against Auburn, they won 43-13. Against the top 10 ranked Florida in the SEC title game, they won 52-46. So they're not they
40 plus points in
exactly. I
against
was
ranked
about to say.
opponents.
They had like 40 plus points against these great football teams. It's not like these teams are any slouches. They're great football programs, but you just can't be compared to Alabama right now this season.
They're definitely on another level. And
Mhm.
in the Rose Bowl, Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly refused to throw the ball to this guy who happens to be the best cornerback in the nation right now, who should be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft in April, Mr. Patrick Surtain.
Yep.
I don't think you can be afraid to throw it to anybody if you want to try to win
Yeah.
in college football. So I just set yourself up for failure because, they're going to be locked on your best receiver the whole night. So if you don't want to have your best receiver play, toss it out the window. But you know what, Malcolm? They were saying the same things 6 years ago about the Alabama Crimson Tide, that they were unstoppable. They were awesome. There's no way it was going to happen, that they were going to lose. But if I can read my toque, I think these guys in red took care of business.
Yes, they did.
And they beat the Alabama Crimson Tide, not in the Natty, but in the semifinals 6 years ago behind, I guess, if you read the players on this Ohio State 2014 team, the names they resonate today. Because
Let's
if
see.
I can just, Ezekiel Elliott,
Okay.
Mike Thomas,
Okay.
Von Bell,
Okay.
players plentiful everywhere. Cardell Jones, Cardell Jones is going to be living in Ohio State infamy for a very long time because, he didn't really have that NFL career he wanted to have. But, third string quarterback to come out and win the Big Ten title game, win the semifinal, and win the Natty
Yeah.
is something short of remarkable. But you know what? The guy wearing number 1 right now under center is getting into that same conversation in Ohio State folklore, and that's Justin Mother Fields. Because my God, he had a performance for the ages. You saw it on Pure Finesse's Instagram.
Yeah.
The stat line he had over 300 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. Fiesta Sugar Bowl record. Ohio State single game tied that record. He was a bad man.
He was. And who's the running back too? Who's the running back in
Trey Sermon,
Sherman?
who was
That's who it
from
was.
Oklahoma to start
Yeah.
off his college career, transfers to Ohio State as a senior, and no, I don't know, just gets the Ohio State single game rushing record in the Big Ten championship game.
I know. I was watching this game. Obviously, Clemson just couldn't stop Sermon. Honestly, I know Fields had himself a day. He got injured after that targeting and came back and threw that touchdown and everything with his almost like broken ribs. But Sermon also did have a big play in that, a big factor in that game. He was huge. He was able to run the ball. The Clemson defense couldn't stop him either. He was stiff arming guys, just getting them off him. It was awful to watch as a Clemson fan.
Clemson fan.
Targeting.
But Ohio State's bread and butter is definitely not running the ball, and it was evident in the Big Ten title game because Trey Sermon was having his way real early in the game, but they just didn't want to stick to it. And besides the Sugar Bowl, the last couple of games of Justin Fields have not been pretty for his standards. He's been throwing a lot of picks, and it was very uncharacteristic of Justin Fields to be throwing picks. And he's been, besides the Sugar Bowl, he's been doing a lot of that. And he hasn't played a whole lot of tough talent this year, whether that's COVID reasons or because like Penn State and Michigan just took the season off of their records. Holy.
Yeah.
But the 2 big wins they've had was against a top 10 team in the Indiana Hoosiers, winning 42-35 in a very close game. But the Big Ten title game, they played 14th ranked Northwestern, winning 22-10. We're losing for much of the game, except for the halfway through the third quarter, and just Trey Sermon's side to get to the buffet and eat.
Yeah.
So that Sugar Bowl win, I think, changed a lot of people's heads over Ohio State. They weren't favored by, or Clemson wasn't favored by much, 7.5 points. But Ohio State gets the respect they deserve because Justin Fields was losing a whole lot of respect amongst the media, saying that Zach Wilson, the quarterback from where, Malcolm? Because I think you had to refresh your memory, right, of where Zach Wilson was from.
When did I have to refresh my memory?
Because you don't like Zach Wilson, BYU quarterback.
Never heard of him.
it's exact, and they're saying that he's better than Justin Fields, man.
I remember, yeah. That's ridiculous because even I said before, I told you this. I think we talked about this another day. I said Justin Fields he's been underrated. Like when he's been in college, he's been underrated. I don't think he's been on a lot of people's radar. He's been criticized a lot because of how he's been playing recently. But you can't say that Zach Wilson is comparable to Justin Fields because Justin Fields is a name that a lot of people, like myself, I don't watch a lot of college football. Even before this, I knew who Justin Fields was. No clue, not an idea of who BYU Zach Wilson is. I think it's kind of disrespectful. He did come into Clemson and he showed everybody wrong, beating them by more than 20, 21 points. And you had the supposed Trevor Lawrence was supposed to win the Heisman if he'd win, maybe. I don't know. Devontae Smith put up a good fight for Heisman, but Trevor Lawrence just didn't ball out.
I cannot believe how Trevor Lawrence in his college career will never win a Heisman Trophy.
I know, that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous to me. But we're not here to talk about Trevor Lawrence. Clemson. We're here to talk Ohio State, Alabama.
I was just trying to fight back his tears right now. We're not talking about Clemson.
I don't want to talk about it.
But Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields have been linked together since they've started playing football because they grew up like 20 miles away from each other in Georgia. They went to a lot of same camps together. They're both the same age.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence was handed the keys really early in his college career, winning as a true freshman.
Exactly.
The national championship game in Ohio. And Justin Fields has bounced around college football. He made commitment to Penn State, transfers to his home state in Georgia, and then transfers to Ohio State, where he's been lighting it up. So the road's been really tough for Justin Fields to finally get his place and where he deserves. He should be the second quarterback taken in the draft. New York Jets, don't screw this one up, please. Do not screw this one up.
I don't think the Jets might pick a quarterback.
I know, I've been saying it a long time. San Francisco is going to be trying to move up.
Yeah.
But you know what? New York Jets, I think, should find a way to draft Justin Fields. But there's just more on this team than just the quarterback. And it's my guy, I can't believe no one knows how to say this guy's last name. Like, come on. And same with your ETN. No one knows how to pronounce the last names here. It's Chris Olave, everybody.
With the accents, it's little accents no one can pronounce.
But he was number 17 last year, and he decided to change his number to 2 because if you do the math here, it's CO2. That's what he wanted because he's ready to explode.
Jeez, that's pretty nasty. Not gonna lie. That's pretty disgusting.
Pretty sweet. Had a very nice Sugar Bowl game with a couple touchdowns to his name, and no, they weren't like little tiddlywink 10-yard tump offs. They were 40-yard bombs from Justin Fields, showing the schmedium arm that he has there. Eh, nice.
It doesn't work that way, but because of last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns game. I do owe Jay a jersey now because we said whoever would lose, I get them a jersey. We get them a jersey. I wanted to go double or nothing for this week's playoff game, but Jay's not confident. So, but Jay does want, if they win, the Chris Olave championship jersey. I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's gonna be a tough road to win against this stacked Alabama team, but.
But the Ohio State definitely, I would say, is if not top 5, they have the best offensive line in the country. And Wyatt Davis, the All-American, is the leader of that offensive line. He should be a top 5, 10, top 15 draft pick when he's eligible to be the draft. And Shaun Wade, a lot of people were high on Shaun Wade coming into the season because of Big Ten not playing football. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick in the draft, and the way he's been playing his last couple of games have been looking a little shaky. Clemson exposed him big time last week. I don't know, I'm sure you saw, but a lot of passes are throwing Shaun Wade's way, and a lot of them are being caught. And he's supposed to be the best cornerback on Ohio State's team. He was first team All-American, him and Surtain, 1 and 2. Yeah. So he is going to have to play big in this one because he has been playing some lackadaisical football these last couple of games. But the 3 guys that I'm looking at that stepped up huge
they did.
In the Sugar Bowl, Jonathan Cooper, Haskell Garrett, and Zach Harrison had their way with Clemson offensive line last week. And they put it on Trevor Lawrence pretty good, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. And they even stopped Travis Etienne a fair amount too. He couldn't get anything going. Trevor Lawrence couldn't get those passes that he wanted. They did a great job, yes.
I can't fucking this one. But yeah, Alabama is going to be definitely the favorite that they are right now at 7.5 points. Are you betting with the favorites in Alabama?
That's what Ohio State. I mean, that's what Clemson was favored against Ohio State. You know how that turned out, but Clemson is in Alabama. I think Alabama is going to win this one. As much as it pains me to say, Mateus will love it. He loves the Crimson Tide. Go watch his episodes about it on the Mateus show. But I don't think that the Ohio State Buckeyes will be able to replicate what they did last week against this Alabama team.
So Malcolm,
What do you think?
this is a very uncharacteristic Alabama team. Their defense, not to be disrespectful to Alabama's defense because they're very good, but they're not typical Alabama defense. You know, the sweltering, put up 15 points and you're lucky to get 15, 20 out of them. This could be the year. Again, they've already got one. Ohio State, your 2021 national champions. Yes. Justin Fields had a huge day. I think he's carrying that momentum into whenever they play, because who knows when they're going to be playing. If it's Monday, if it's going to be February, who knows?
Are they postponing it because of COVID?
That's exactly why.
I don't think that should be happening. If Ohio State got to play their 6-0, they got to play their 6-0 and get in the playoffs. So they got.
We're gonna have this conversation.
We're gonna have this conversation. They got their 6-0 and they got to go in. Alabama, they got their 11, 13, 12 games, whatever, and they got in, only losing one. I don't think that they should postpone it at this point. If you get COVID, that's on you. You shouldn't be playing. If you got it at this point, I know everyone wants to see the big names, but I think it's kind of unfair to the other side when
I think it's both sides that have issues.
Is it both that have it? I still
both
think
athletic directors are talking that they're both focused on playing on Monday. So I mean, I don't care. I want to be seeing some football. But to say that Ohio State should not be credited to be in the national championship game with a 6-0 record is absurd, because Alabama or the SEC, it all falls down on the conferences, because the SEC started way before the Big Ten did.
Yes, I know. I'm aware.
And Malcolm, before you snap on me, it wasn't the Ohio State that had the COVID problems that they postponed games. It was the other teams that had the COVID problems to postpone games. You think I didn't want to see Ohio State, Michigan on Thanksgiving weekend?
Obviously,
yeah, a whole bunch of people did. And it's the first time in over 100 years that game got postponed. And it was because of that stupid team up north wanted to postpone the game.
What's with you having your cup?
Screw Ohio State for people like you discrediting them. I hate Michigan, man.
What's with you?
Hate them.
You have Michigan's color on your mic right now. What's going on? You don't have to.
This is the pure finesse yellow. This is Michigan yellow. This is Pittsburgh yellow. This is pure finesse yellow. But, damn it, I hate Michigan trying to screw Ohio State out of championship games, out of national championships, out of bowl wins. But no, Big Ten's got some sense that this is the best team in the country, and you make exceptions for the best team in the country.
We'll see.
A shot. Because they proved it. If they lost in the Sugar Bowl, you would be in my ear saying,
I know I would.
You were in my ear at 8 o'clock. Oh, Ohio State 6-0. Why are they here? They shouldn't be here. A&M should have been in. No.
A&M should have been in, but whatever.
No. Ohio State deserves to be here. They proved it fair and square, winning by 3 scores against the Clemson, who you thought were the national champions, correct?
Calls.
Correct?
We got some lucky targeting calls or whatnot.
One call.
That led to a touchdown.
Last year in the Fiesta Bowl, do you remember last year?
Yeah, I remember. And that was
questionable targeting call on Sean Wade.
We also had a
questionable fumble that turned into an incomplete pass.
Yeah, those were all fair calls. Those were the right calls. Those were the right calls.
Real.
Let me tell you this. If Justin Fields does not turn his body around when he's going in,
that is like this. He's like a bull with the horns out.
You know what he did? He went like this. He turned around. If he going with his shoulder, if Fields doesn't turn around, if he doesn't turn around, no. That
was the right call. NFL should adopt the rule for targeting, because that's going to save a whole bunch of people's lives and brains. I would love it to see if targeting was in the NFL. And 15, I would love it. Love it.
I think it should be in the NFL too, but that was not targeting. That's all.
Absolutely, it was. I love it. Screw Clemson. Screw Michigan. Ohio State. Screw Alabama. Ohio State is winning the national championship game. You heard it here first. Pure finesse. Put $1,000 down because you're winning some cash. Tristan, I love you, bud, but you better be picking Ohio State.
Put it down. Miami. Put that money down. Put that money down. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is right now.
Well, no.
Yeah,
State is the best team. Oh, not the best team on paper. I wouldn't think so because of all the stars they have on Alabama's team.
Exactly.
They're a better team. Alabama's got better players. Ohio State is the better team.
We'll see. We'll see on Monday, hopefully.
Who knows if it's Monday?
Hopefully, I'm saying.
it should be an absolute dandy because you see how fired up I am for it because
You know what? At this
proving
point,
people wrong.
I want Alabama to win just because of your talking.
I know.
So I'm cheering
I
for
can't
Alabama.
wait
I
to
hope
see your
Alabama
FaceTime
wins,
call
and I hope
on
they
whatever
blow
night
them
it
out.
is when
I hope they
Ohio
blow
State's
them out.
hosting the best trophy, the best looking trophy in sports. Best thing right here. Don't know what it's called yet,
I
but
hope
it
they blow
should be
them out.
called the Ohio State Trophy because we own college football.
Not. I think that I want Alabama to just completely blow you guys out just by the way you're talking right now. I was gonna go for Ohio State after, but during this podcast, you flipped my mind. You've changed my mind. If they win, I'm going to go buy a Najee Harris jersey. If they win, count me on it. If Alabama wins, I'm gonna do it and rub it in your face with the college football championship logo on it. 2021. I will be doing it for myself. So you just did that to yourself, and that's gonna be in the house next year, buddy.
Really? Really?
Really.
Well, it's not happening because the Buckeyes from Ohio, OHIO, are winning the game. I'm going to get you the call, and it's going to be the fight song because we're doing it for Ohio. Until then, it's Jacob.
I'm calm.